Traoré has made yet another audacious move. His most recent choice? Transforming the prison system in Burkina Faso by requiring prisoners to labor on farms in order to shorten their incarceration periods. However, this goes beyond prison reform to include national development, food security, and the larger African liberation movement. Is this the beginning of a continent-wide trend toward independence? More significantly, is the West prepared for an Africa that builds rather than begs? Keep an eye out because the events in Burkina Faso could pave the way for the next revolution in Africa. Burkina Faso's transformation is being observed by the entire African continent. Under Captain Ibrahim, Traoré's bold and wise leadership, the nation is proving that food sovereignty is a realistic objective. While many African countries continue to rely on foreign aid and constantly travel to international conferences to solicit food assistance, Burkina Faso is paving the way for the future. One of self-reliance, perseverance, and patriotism, and at its heart is a choice that has surprised a lot of people. Prisoners no longer sit around doing nothing. They are working, farming, and supplying the nation with food. In support of his announcement that Burkina Faso will no longer beg for food, President Traoré took decisive action. One of the more creative policies put into place during his leadership was the integration of prisoners into the country's agricultural labor force. Once a burden on the government, the cost of housing and feeding criminals is now a major driver of the nation's progress. A carefully thought-out concept is transforming jails in Burkina Faso into facilities for food production and agricultural training. Instead of merely penalizing criminals, the government is giving them the tools they need to become contributing members of society again. And the results? Fantastic. Now let's examine it more closely. Just last week, Mr. Idasso Rodrigo Bayala, Burkina Faso's Minister of Justice and Human Rights, visited the Baporo Prison Center, a correctional facility that has been transformed into a sizable agricultural plot. Standing beside vast fields of rice, maize, and wheat cultivated by the convicts, he made a powerful statement. This institution has never before produced such an agricultural yield. What you see here now is a direct result of the presidential program for food self-sufficiency and the agricultural assault initiated by the Ministry of Agriculture. The state leader has a distinct vision. Burkina Faso needs to make sure it produces what it consumes and never again relies on foreign assistance. Minister Bayala claims that young people make up 90% of Burkina Faso's population. For years, the administration has struggled with crime, unemployment, and a growing prison population. However, the government has altered its approach and turned the prison system into a beneficial component of the economy under Captain Traoré's leadership. Feeding those who are able to work is an unnecessary expense for the government. Laziness and inactivity lead to crime. In addition to reducing the burden on the government, allowing prisoners to farm gives them the skills they need to stay out of trouble in the future. To achieve this, Burkina Faso passed a new law requiring community service. Instead of serving long prison terms, certain offenders are being given the chance to work in agriculture in exchange for lighter sentences. Each month of community service reduces a sentence by 3 months. Prisoners who work not only gain new skills, but also develop self-control and a sense of responsibility. This considerably facilitates reintegration into society. This innovative approach not only improves food security in Burkina Faso, but also reduces crime and aids in the rehabilitation of